Hey everybody, Gino here with Major Push Wrestling Talk Show. I am back again. We are ready to be on a consistent schedule after a long move, and I really hope you guys enjoy this episode that I have planned for you today. So, as always, these videos are being recorded and then uploaded live until I can somehow figure out how to make the live streaming aspect of this work. Right now, I'm recording this in the morning on Wednesday, December 10th. And what I want to talk about today, because we could talk about Cena, we could talk about all of these types of things that are going on currently in wrestling, but I want to talk about a pattern or a trend that I've seen in WWE that is starting to grind my gears. Okay, so we recently had LA Knight seemingly written off of television. A lot of people then speculated that he was going to go to AEW, things like that, but it's being known now that his contract has been renewed and he's due for a major push. How you doing? Welcome to Major Push Wrestling. So, I want to talk about the contract renewals for some wrestlers and the pattern that I am seeing in WWE. So, the three names that come to mind are Drew McIntyre, Chad Gable, and L.A. Knight. Yeah. Let's go back to Chad Gable. He was building up Sami Zayn for the Intercontinental Championship win over Gunther at WrestleMania a few years back. Gable's contract was going to be up. People thought that it should be Gable fighting Gunther for the title and to hopefully have his push come alongside that. When your contract is running out and the timing of your contract running out, there are some things, WWE doesn't know you're going to sign, so they don't want to push you and stuff. But then they probably are offering all of these types of, well, we'll put you in a major storyline or we'll give you a title, yada, 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 yada. So Chad Gable resigns. No Intercontinental Championship, no Tag Team Championship, certainly no major championship. But they did give him El Grande Americano. He was getting it over, but I'm pretty sure that's not in line with what was agreed upon going into the contract negotiations and things like that. Now, Maxime Dupree, his running mate in Alpha Academy, is a champion before Chad. Okay, I get it. Chad's hurt. He's not there right now. Maxine's putting in the work. Nothing against her. But you sign a new contract with a company with, I would imagine, promises and maybe even unwritten agreements to get a push and to be in a title picture, and that just didn't happen. So, justice for Gable. It should have been Chad. It should have been Gable. All those hashtags that you were seeing. And again, nothing against Sami Zayn. He's obviously putting in the work himself. But for me, and for a lot of people online, it seems like WWE is not building up new stars, and this is how you would do it. Chad Gable is relatively young. He's a former Olympian, and let's put a mask on him and have him pretend to be Mexico's best luchador. Okay, cool, whatever. Then he gets hurt doing luchador stuff, which he shouldn't be doing. And then you have Ludwig Kaiser come in and take that position from him. And now he's running with it. So we'll see what happens when Chad comes back. But I don't know that that was what was in the cards when he's thinking about re-signing. Then you have Drew McIntyre, signs a new contract. Maybe he wins the World Heavyweight Championship for 5 minutes, cup of coffee. Maybe he has feud of the year with CM Punk. Great. But Drew McIntyre was a World Heavyweight Champion during the pandemic, or the WWE champion during the pandemic. He was had no crowd to embrace him during his win. Now he got that crowd to embrace him for a little bit at WrestleMania. So when he's agreeing to sign a new contract, I'm sure they're promising, well, we're going to let you have this, we're going to do this. And then they constantly throw him into feud after feud where he's not being booked the strongest. I get it. CM Punk needed to win that feud, whatever. I think that Drew McIntyre should be winning the feuds that he's in. Drew McIntyre is an absolute monster. He's great on the mic, and he doesn't say anything like off kilter. He just tells the truth, and the truth can be hard for people to swallow. So when that happens, it feels a little like he is not getting what he deserves in favor of Cody Rhodes continuing to get the championship. Obviously, he's QB1, however you want to look at that. But I really think that Drew McIntyre is long overdue for a championship run. There's a lot of great things we can do with a heel WWE champion. There's a lot of challengers, and there's a lot of great promo work that he can do. He hasn't been giving that after renewing his contract. He's been losing. He's been made to be the butt of every joke, getting suspended, doing this, doing that. Yeah, I know it's kayfabe, whatever, but that doesn't feel like how you honor somebody who chose to re-sign with your company when there are other options available for talent now. And then we go to LA Knight. They have him wrestle the most matches in WWE over the calendar year. They should have had him be the World Heavyweight Champion instead of CM Punk when Seth got hurt and they had that battle royal. It should have been LA Knight. They chose to not have that happen in favor of some bull crap with Jey Uso. No offense to Jey Uso, but where they're fast forwarding, and we all saw the writing on the wall, back into a tag team with his brother. And they're a great tag team, and Jey did really well, relatively speaking, with the opportunity he was given all this calendar year at being a main event player. He's over with the crowd, obviously, but he's not. There's something missing, whether it's his in-ring work, whether it's his ability to do the moves, whether it's his ability to not get winded from his entrance, whether it's his ability to cut a promo. They gave him a chance, and let's see if he ever gets back to that. LA Knight continuously taking L's, continuously taking L's. Every championship match that he's been in, every high profile match, it just feels like he's getting screwed over, not by the finish, but by what's happening during the finish, like interference and things like that. Like during Roman Reigns' whole 1,000 day plus reign, like LA Knight would get interfered with, lose, and then have to just not be in the title picture anymore. And now they've written him off TV with the tsunami on the top of the car with rumors of a major push. How you doing, major push? Coming in the new year or whatever. Am I supposed to believe that maybe he's going to win the Royal Rumble? I would like that. He really should be in the title picture. He's not getting any younger, and obviously WWE has no problem with old champions, but he hasn't gotten it. And you hear the chatter online. Not everybody deserves a run with the championship. No, they don't. But to make new main event stars, and even if they're been around for 20 years, like you have to give it to them. And I know you say that the belt doesn't make the man's got to make the belt. Let him come out as a champion. When he was the United States champion, he was doing great work. And now he's off TV, presumably until at least the Royal Rumble. He's gonna come back. People are gonna be super happy, and we'll see what happens. But throughout the year, one thing has remained true for me about LA Knight, and they like refuse to give him a live microphone in front of the crowd. They've been doing backstage stuff. They've been doing all these other things. They just have him come out and not talk and just wrestle. Like, come on. He obviously his biggest strength is talking and with a live microphone in his hand and going toe to toe with people. And they don't seem to want to be doing that. It's like they don't want him to be over, but they want him to be over. And he's in commercials and stuff and big on the Slim Jim and whatever. But it just feels like they aren't doing justice with him. And I'm sure to get him to resign, they had promises of again a major push. How you doing? But he's been really, it feels like somebody in the back doesn't like him. Maybe it was because he held up the sign about we want LA Knight over Jey Uso, whatever, whatever. But to wrestle that many matches, to obviously be able to go, to stay injury free, knock on wood, and then for him to continuously be put in these high profile situations, but then coming out lesser for them. People want to say, well, he's not being buried or he's, should be grateful to still be in the conversation on TV and stuff like that. Well, yeah, but he deserves to be on TV because he's good television. So the pattern here between Gable, Drew McIntyre, LA Knight, and I'm sure there are others, but those are the three high profile ones to me. It's that when your contract is coming up, they're going to promise you these great things. And then as soon as you sign, they're going to see if you're a company man and let you take L after L after L. And it's almost indicative and it's kind of mirrors what they're doing with their contracts with their television providers. They get paid, they sign, and then it doesn't seem like they care about putting on good, worthwhile stuff. Obviously, there's been a lot of good. I don't want this to be mostly complaining video, but here I want to talk about this trend that I'm noticing. So they sign with ESPN. They've already got all their money, so they don't really care if people watch the product again until the time to renew the TV deal comes up. They did the same thing with Netflix. They did the same thing with Fox. They did the same thing with USA Network. They did the same thing with all of that. It's like that's not how you make the person or people or company that you're in business with happy. Don't even get me started on Cena saying that he would have done 200 dates if they would have let him and they only wanted 36. Like, how are these decisions helping the product, the company, or the happiness? Remember, when Vince left, everybody was saying that they weren't happy because of Vince was there, and that's why the AEW was even able to be created is because Vince McMahon was creating unhappiness with his talent. Not all of the talent, but there were some talent for sure that were we don't like the environment, we don't like this, we don't like that, whatever. And then once Triple H took over, everybody's like happy with a good environment, good relationships, whatever. Starting to feel like, and I'm not blaming Triple H, it's starting to feel like a trickle down from the TKO Endeavor uh, contract that they have. They're the owners of WWE and UFC now, and it just feels like they don't know how to keep people happy. They only know how to do these things right as contracts are coming up or a new contract needs to be signed. They're like, look at how good this can be. And then they fall back into their lulls. I get it. 52 weeks a year, whatever, they take some days off and what have you, but it's really difficult to do. And I'm not saying like I would do necessarily any better, but I do know that if I was going to have a contract signed with somebody, I would probably uh, try to do what I can to justify the contract having existed. So for me, it's a little bit difficult to get on board with treating the talent the way they deserve to be treated when things like what's happening with LA Knight is happening. Things like what's happening with Drew McIntyre are happening. Things like what happened with Chad Gable. Now they're all on TV and high profile stuff for sure. But at the end of the day, you've seen my other episodes. Go back and check out the one I have about how WWE books its champions. Long story short, they basically give the title to people who don't have storylines. And then these people who do deserve the title because they're in meaningful storylines and because they're doing great work, they seem to be like, well, this story doesn't need a title because this story is good enough on its own. And this person needs a title because we don't have a story for them. And it's kind of just frustrating. And week after week after week, it seems to be the same thing. Just when I think Stephanie Vicaire is getting a storyline with Nikki Bella, Raquel Rodriguez happens. Nothing against her, nothing against any of that, but it's just these are the patterns that I'm noticing. And patterns are when it becomes a pattern, it can be frustrating. So I just really hope that this whole major push, how you doing? Major push wrestling. I hope the major push for LA Knight is going to come and it's not just going to be hearsay to get him to sign a new contract, keeping him away from AEW. I get it. He's getting paid. And that's what goes on in the TV and entertainment world. You get paid, whether you like the material you're given or not. You do it, you get paid. We're paying you to do it. Doesn't matter. Blah, 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 blah. But I really think that WWE is leaving money on the table or taking it off the table, however you want to look at it, by not pulling the trigger on these guys and giving the end gals and giving them what makes sense to help build new stars. They got the same seven people on top that we've had for years, and they can stay on top. There's always more room at the table. And the one thing about the Attitude Era, even though this year, even though the WWE roster is probably the best it's ever been, the one thing about the Attitude Era is they had more stars. And you look back and all of those guys and gals are Hall of Famers now. I know that that's all political anyway, but you do this, you give championships to people, even if it's for a month, and you make it mean something. You make it feel real, and you have people who are stars for life based on that and based on the hard work that they put in to get there. So I really hope these things go well for LA Knight. I hope Chad Gable can get something when he comes back. I really hope Drew McIntyre can beat Cody for the title, but we know that the WrestleMania promo, they're doing it so far in advance, even though it's before the road to WrestleMania, that it doesn't look like Drew's going to be in that main title picture. It stinks because, as he said on Logan Paul's podcast, he's tall, he's strong, he's handsome, can take your girl, and can legitimately beat you up. Like those are the things that professional wrestlers are supposed to be like, larger than life, and they're not taking advantage of that. I mean, you could say the same thing about Chad Gable, even though he's short, still Jack, former Olympian, good looking. Say the same, LA Knight's tall, Jack. Obviously, Wade Barrett talks up his Kavorka when he comes in every time he sees him. Like all these guys could take your girl. It's just those are the people we should be pushing. Those are the people that the crowd is behind. And it just feels like whether it's Vince or whether it's Triple H in creative, I'm not saying that Triple H is the ultimate decision maker, but what I'm hearing about Cena and stuff, it seems like Triple H and the creative is it's tough to talk about. But when you have from one regime to another a seemingly apprehensiveness to people getting over organically, it just feels like that's like doesn't make any sense. In pro sports, if somebody outperforms next man up, like you feed the hot hand. Like, and it doesn't seem like they're feeding the hot hands as much as they should, especially the guys who are signing new contracts. So, with that being said, comment below, guys. Let me know what you think. This is always a pleasure and a highlight of my day to be able to talk to you guys. I'm looking forward to getting our cohorts. We got C-Rod, Sonny, Tomas, and some of the guys from NXT. I know we had Matt, or from No DQ. I know we had Matthew on here. Maybe I can get Oofman or Noah to come join me one of these days. And anybody else is more than welcome. Just feel free to shoot me a message or leave a comment. Let me know you'd like to come on for one of these podcasts. I'm looking forward to continuing to make these every single week. So that way we can talk about some of these either patterns or maybe we'll do Mount Rushmores or we'll do these other things that I have in store. I'm thinking about maybe a Mount Rushmore for best music, Mount Rushmore for worst music, Mount Rushmores all around. It's fun to be able to talk to you guys, and I really appreciate your viewership and support. Thank you so much. Again, don't forget to give this a thumbs up, subscribe, share this with a fellow wrestling fan. And as always, I'll catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.